Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm here to tell you a little bit about my story. I'm from the island of Jamaica in the Caribbean. My family was my parents, my sister, my brother, and myself. In the late 70s, Jamaica was a great place to visit, not so great place to live. The crime rate was getting more and more out of control. We had a government that declared martial law. So during that period, my parents said, you know what, it's getting a little too dangerous to live. We should make a move. So we had an uncle in Canada and he agreed to sponsor us. We went to Toronto. From Toronto, we went to Regina where my uncle lived. And then while we were in Regina, my dad and my uncle came to Winnipeg, scouted around. They were able to find a house, they were able to buy a used car. And the next thing you know, in June of 1977, the Ali family ended up in Winnipeg. Winnipeg was an interesting city. At the time, it was the third largest city in Canada, and you got more points from immigration if you put that as a destination. To say it was culture shock is an understatement. Everything was brand new. I remember when we started school, I promptly failed my English exams for spelling. The reason being, we grew up on the British standard, so program is spelled P-R-O-G-R-A-M-M-E. Canada goes by the North American spelling, which is P-R-O-G-R-A-M. And there's more than a few words that are like that. Going through school was a little bit different as well. We grew up with wearing uniforms to school. In Canada, the uniforms were basically jeans and a t-shirt. In the Caribbean, we were raised to be respectful. The teacher had absolute say over every one of us. Canada, not so much. Everyone had rights. University was different. University was probably the more multicultural place than the public school system was. University had students from all over the world. So I joined the International Students Organization, joined the West Indian Students Association. The other good thing that happened to us was Folklorama. Folklorama was where we found all these different associations with all these different ethnic groups, and thankfully there was a Carry Canada Pavilion which was predominantly made of people from Trinidad, Jamaica, and so forth. That's where we got to experience some of our food, we got to experience some of our music, we got to experience our local culture, we got to have people that we could call aunt and uncle as a sign of respect. The workplace was different because I went from being part of a multicultural group to being the only non-Caucasian in a branch or in an office. So the golden rule of survival was smile, nod your head, never divulge anything personal, unless you're with people that you can trust. The North American workplace is a little bit different because it doesn't emphasize community, whereas in the Caribbean, it's all about community. One other thing is that we were raised that you have to give back. A lot of people have it far worse than we do, and it's only right that you remember to be humble and you remember to be gracious. So I started doing a lot of volunteer work. One of the places that I volunteered was the International Center of Winnipeg, which is now known as the Immigrant Center of Winnipeg. I was working for Family Services at the time, and then I started to be the official liaison. So I didn't have to do volunteer work anymore. Now it's just incorporated as part of my duties to be the liaison between Family Services and the Immigrant Center. When I look back on my time both in the Caribbean and in Canada, and if someone were to ask me, was it a good or bad thing? I honestly don't know. On the one hand, I'm grieving for the life I lost in Jamaica because Jamaica was at the time was two classes. Those who have, those who don't. I was fortunate that my family had. Canada, we were starting from square one. There were still a lot of xenophobic attitudes towards newcomers, which unfortunately has not gone away completely, but it is getting better and better. I'm thankful now that I'm in a city and in a country where we have medical care. Our dollar is worth something, especially if I go down to the Caribbean. The people are friendly. The city is more cosmopolitan. And as you can see, I can get food from every single nationality I choose. which is one of the best things about Winnipeg. Anyway, I think that's my story. Thank you so much for listening.